Hello, everyone, and welcome to this lecture series on Introduction to Marketing Management. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing and clicking this notification bell so that you'll be notified when we will be uploading videos like this. We upload videos on marketing management or any management related subjects, and we also upload a little bit of research and statistics. Now, in this particular video, we will be talking about the core concepts of management. By the way, this is a beginner level of course. And so if you are already an expert or you have a broad understanding of marketing management, this video is not designed for your capacity and ability to understand. But if you want to stay, that is absolutely fine. Now, in this particular video, we'll be talking about the core concept of marketing. What are those things that we have to take into consideration before we undergo certain marketing campaigns or implement such marketing strategies for our company or for our corporations or probably in our individual sense as a person? What are these things that we have to take into consideration before we do that? We implement something in marketing. Now, first things first, we have to know what are these basic concepts. Like, let's say, for example, need, wants, and demands. These are very basic concepts. Let me be clear about that. Now, when we speak of needs, these are basic human requirements such as for air, food, water, clothing, and shelter. And let's say, for example, food, you cannot survive without food. You cannot survive without water. And so that's the reason why there's a lot of companies and corporations and probably at some point individuals are actually selling food from the street vendors to the multinational corporations. They are actually selling food and water and clothings, from the very basic clothing designs to designer clothings. And then we also have shelters. We are selling real estate properties, condominiums, so on and so forth. In the previous years, I think it's something that we will be laughing about when we'll be talking about that probably in the near future we'll be selling air. But, there are already companies in the United States that are actually selling air. And in fact, during this pandemic, wherein we have this, problem with our respiratory tract, and the COVID-19 will render your lungs actually inutile for that particular uh, matter. So what happens is we actually purchase air. And so that's a need. Now we go to wants. What are wants? Want is something unnecessary but desired, or items which increase the quality of living. Examples include a car stereo, a CD, or a car for that matter, or a designer clothes, or let's say our cell phone, or anything that is unnecessary for the human survival. But we desire these particular things because it helps us live a little bit more comfortable with our lives. Now, demands, on the other hand, is generally a want or a specific product backed by the ability to pay. Now, we have to take into consideration these particular aspects of marketing because our products, the design of our product, must be directed towards our target audiences or our target markets' needs, wants, and their individual or collective capacity to pay. Otherwise, there's no business in that area. So we have to focus on another segment in the market. Now, speaking of segment, it is also a core concept in marketing that we have to take into consideration the target, which is the exact group of population by which we are directing our marketing campaigns, because they are the prospective users of our products. Positioning and segmentation. A target market is a group of people with some shared characteristics that a company has identified as a potential customer for its products. Identifying the target market informs the decision-making process as a company designs, packages, and market its products. By the way, as a reminder for everyone, if you notice, there are QR codes that are displayed in your screen, and if that is flashed in your screen at this particular moment, you can scan on that QR code so that you'll be redirected to a link or a source wherein we got this particular information that is displayed in your screen. Now, next is we have market position. This refers to customers' perception of a particular brand in relation to the competing brands or products. Market positioning refers to the process of establishing the image or identity of a brand or a product so that the customers perceive it in a certain way. Now, let's say, for example, a Apple is a brand. Now, that brand is positioned in a way that is more or less luxurious in the eyes of the consuming or the target market or the audience, the users of that product, as compared to Chinese products, Chinese companies, wherein they are positioned more on the masses. All right, the quality is almost the same, or if not, these Chinese phones are more superior than these Western phones, but they are positioned in different markets. The position of this Western brand, as Apple for that matter, is on the higher level of the societal hierarchy, wherein only those who are affluent, or probably those who have a little bit of money, spare money, that can avail of these products offered by that company. But when we speak of, let's say, for example, Xiaomi or Oppo or these Chinese brands, they are much more targeted towards the lower level of the social spectrum. And so that's the reason why they are more popular in the grassroots level of our society. And that is market positioning. Again, positioning yourself in the grassroots level or any level in the social spectrum is actually not bad, as long as you can translate that popularity to a certain level of a desired profit. So it does not necessarily mean that Apple is for the rich is better than Xiaomi for the poor, because at the end of the day, it boils down to profit. And so that's the most important thing, because no business exists without thinking about profit. Then we have market segmentation. Now, market segmentation is a marketing term that refers to the aggregating of prospective buyers into groups of segments with common needs and who respond similarly to a marketing action. Market segmentation enables the companies to target different categories of consumers who perceive the full value of certain products and services differently from one another. Now, let's say, for example, when you are selling diapers, your target segment are those parents with toddlers or babies. Now, when you are selling adult diapers, your target market, your segment in the market spectrum are those people who have parents that are of old age, or probably at some point those persons that have patients in hospitals that requires these products. So this is market segmentation. Now, the next one is offerings and brands. Now, a product offering is a group of platform features that work together to deliver a specific proposition for the end client. That offering can be named, marketed, priced, and sold and serviced. So anything that you try to exchange for a value to a client or a customer is a product proposition, a product offering. Now, each of these particular product offering should have an identity in it. Now, that identity is called a brand. Now, a brand refers to a business and marketing concept that helps people identify a particular company, product, or individual. Brands are intangible, which means that you cannot actually touch or see them. As such, they help shape the people's perception of companies, their products, or individuals. Brands often use identifying markers to help create the brand identities within the marketplace. So, whenever you look at any kind of product that is delivered to you or you probably have purchased, there are brands in that product. Now, we might say, well, I just purchased a generic medicine. Well, that generic medicine actually have a brand in it. The only thing is that it's not a kind of a leading brand, but there's a brand in it, even though these are generic medicines. These are still brands. Next, we have different marketing channels. Now, a marketing channel is a way by which value are transported or value are communicated towards the target audience or the target market. Now, we have different market channels with respect to marketing in general. We have communication, we have distribution and service channels. Now, when we speak of communication channels, of course, we already know about this. These are all the methods, means, and mediums by which we can use in order to deliver a specific message towards an intended audience. It could be in the means of a smartphone or a billboard, posters, or the internet for that matter. Now, when you speak of distribution channels, these are mechanisms by which the product that have been manufactured in a specific place in a remote part of the world will be delivered towards the purchasing customer to their doors on a specific period of time as guaranteed by these sellers selling these products. This helps display, sell, or deliver physical products or services to the buyers or users. These channels may be direct. It could be a direct channel from the manufacturer towards the target consumers or customers, or it could be in a means of intermediaries like retailers and wholesalers and other agents that serves as a link towards the target customers or the users of the product. Then we have service channels by which each of these communication channels and distribution channels are at some point in a way that is dependent on. Service channels include warehouses, transportation companies, banks, and other insurance companies because, of course, if you want to export product, there should be an insurance that whenever the ship actually, let's say, for example, at some point there is a tragedy that happened, right? And the ships are actually towards the direction of the delivery of your product, and then there is a tragedy and the ship actually sunk. Service channels are there to ensure that these products arrive safely. And of course, warehouses wherein these products are consolidated before being delivered to the target customers. Next, we have paid, owned, and earned media. Now, when we speak of paid media, of course, we all know about it. These are mass communication that is directed towards the target customers and consumers. These paid media, including billboards and radio, television, and the internet, when these companies wants to introduce their products, goods, and services, both of them, when you want to pay for something in order for the introduction of your services or your product in general to the target audience, you have to pay something. And you have to pay something to these paid mediums like the television or Facebook for that matter. Next is we have owned media. These are actual companies or actual medium by which companies have websites or magazines that are owned by them. Let's say, for example, if XYZ company is selling, let's say, hard drives, and they also have their own website, and that website is actually an owned media. That is also a good way of introducing yourself to your target audience. And you have to put all of the necessary information in that website so that when your customer actually arrives in that website, they will be educated that all possible questions will be answered. That's the reason why these websites actually have frequently asked questions, so that when you arrive there, automatically, if you have questions, you'll just go directly towards frequently asked question, and most probably your questions will be answered. But of course, not necessarily, because there are very difficult questions that requires human being to respond. And that is kind of frustrating when you are having problems with a certain product, and then when you go to the website, you can't find any answer to your question, much less when you call their hotlines, they're not available. And so that's a frustrating thing. And in fact, I believe that marketing, the marketing side of the business, including support as part of marketing, must be developed and still be developed towards the total satisfaction of our customers. And that includes support when our customers needs questions answered. Then we have earned media. These are streams of which customers, the press, or other outsiders voluntarily communicate something about the brand via word of mouth, buzz, or viral marketing methods. Now, there are several ways by these companies actually implement earned media kind of a marketing method. Now, there are several ways by which these companies and corporations are using earned media to get free interaction between its customers and the company itself. Now, one of the best examples for that are the advertisings that have been used by Jollibee. Jollibee Corporation is a company for fast foods in the Philippines, by which every February 14, they are actually uploading several videos that captures the emotions of the watching public. Even the international audience actually get to feel the emotions that are within those videos, and you can actually watch those videos in YouTube or probably in Facebook. These are very at some point effective way of getting free interaction to the customers by capturing their emotions and let them share these videos that in effect earned free interactions on the side of Jollibee to their customers. These are called earned media. Then we have impressions and engagement. Now, YouTube and Facebook actually uses these strategies in marketing, by which each of the companies are paying the platform for impressions and engagements. Now, impressions, which occurs when the customers view a communication, that are a useful metric for tracking and the scope or breadth of a communication's reach, that can also be compared across all communication types. The downside of this is that impressions don't provide any insight into the result of the viewing communication. When you watch a specific thumbnail in YouTube or in Facebook, it actually counts every time you see these thumbnails, and or probably you at some point have seen an advertising that is displayed in Facebook or in Google when you search in the search engine. These advertising, when displayed in your screen without you interacting with it, are called impressions. Now, when you click on it, when you click certain advertisings in the web, it's called and engagement. Now, engagement is the extent by which the customer's attention and active involvement with a communication or with a communication. It reflects a much more active response than a mere impression that is more likely to create value for the firm. Some online measures of engagement, like Facebook likes, Twitter tweets, retweets, comments on a blog or a website, or sharing videos and other contents. These are ways by which we can capitalize engagement in social media and in the internet. So engagement is way better than impressions. So that's the reason why many of the advertisers are actually paying quite high with respect to clicks and other actions that have to be performed by customers and consumers. So these clicks are called engagement. And advertising companies and, let's say, for example, influencers are actually paid by impressions, I mean per click, per engagement. Now let's say, for example, there's a company that is willing to pay, let's say, $100 for every successful engagement of their links. So when you are an influencer, you just paste your link and you know, let your target audience, the customers, your followers, click on that link and register. The moment they subscribe to the services that are delivered in that particular website, you get a commission. And that's how engagement work in the internet and the social media. Now we also have the concept of value and satisfaction. Now, value in marketing is also known as a customer perceived value. This is the difference between a prospective customer's evaluation of the benefits and cost of one product when compared to another. Now, value is something that the customers actually receive. Of course, this is based on their own perception. The value perceived by the customers of having your product instead of choosing another brand. So this is value. Now you have to communicate that value, that there is something in your product or your brand that is inexistent or non-existing in the product that are alternative to the product or services that you are delivering. Now, when the product arrives at your customer and they become happy and it exceeds their expectation about the product of the same brand that are offered in the market, then there becomes satisfaction. Now, customer satisfaction is a term frequently used in marketing. It is a measure of how products and services supplied by a company meets or surpass customer expectation. Then we have market chain or supply chain, competition, and market environment. A supply chain is a network between the company and its suppliers to produce and distribute a specific product to the final buyer. This network includes different activities, people, entities, information, and resources. The supply chain also represents the steps it takes to get the product or service from its original state to the customers. Now, supply chain is very important with respect to marketing because no matter how you introduce these products to the target customers, if there is a problem with the delivery of this actual product towards your target customers, then everything is useless. No matter how your customers feel that these products are important or these products will answer their problem, if the product does not arrive at a target specified time or there is no availability of these products in the market upon which target customers or target users is situated in, then there is a problem with it. And so that's a reason why supply chain is a very important thing. Now we have what we call as competition. This is the rivalry between companies selling similar products and services with the goal of achieving revenue, profit, and market share, or at some point growth. Then we have market competition motivates companies to increase sales volume by utilizing the four components of the marketing mix, also referred to as the four P's. Now, competition is also a very important aspect of marketing because it actually induces a more healthy business environment. Then we also have to take into consideration the broader environment, the market environment, which consists six components. We have demographic environment, economic environment, sociocultural environment, natural environment, technological environment, the political legal environment. Marketers must pay close attention to these trends in the development of these and adjust their marketing strategies as needed. When there are rules and regulations set by the political authorities in one country, you have to follow, you have to take into consideration. Otherwise, there could be legal issues that would result to the disregard of these particular rules and regulations set forth by political authorities in one country. Or let's say, for example, the demographic distribution of a particular place or particular region. Let's say, for example, for specific countries where there are dominant Muslim, you can sell all other products except pork, because of course that is they are not allowed to eat pork. Or let's say, for example, if you are in a predominantly Christian country, then you can sell pork. Or let's say, for example, you are in countries like European countries. They don't eat rice, and so that's the reason why you don't sell rice in those countries. But with respect to Southeast Asian countries, where rice is the staple food, then you have to sell rice. So you have to understand demographic, economic, and sociocultural environment.